You got a Google alert?
Yes.
What did you say to him?
I asked if it was true, and he admitted it right away. I think my response was, "Are you kidding me?"
Demi Moore's life has never fit the fairy tale mold. From a turbulent childhood to fame, fortune, and heartbreak, her journey reveals both resilience and pain. Now, at 62, Moore is finally breaking her silence about her tumultuous marriage to Ashton Kutcher, an age-defying romance that once captivated Hollywood. Behind the glitz lay tension, grief, and secrets that tested their love and public image. Their 15-year age gap and shared struggles forged a bond as fragile as it was fascinating. What really happened behind closed doors? The truth is far more complex and heartbreaking than anyone imagined. The beginning of an unlikely romance. When Demi Moore met Ashton Kutcher in 2003, their connection sparked instant intrigue and excitement. But it was also unexpected given their significant age difference. Demi was 40, a well-established actress with decades of experience, while Ashton was just 25, known mostly for his work on television. Despite this gap, their chemistry was undeniable. They spoke for hours on the phone after their initial meeting, opening up about dreams and hopes that created a deep bond in a very short time. Their romance quickly became the talk of Hollywood. Ashton wasn't just a young admirer, he was engaging, witty, and seemed to bring a fresh energy to Demi's life at a time when she was still healing from past emotional wounds. Within weeks, Ashton met Demi's 3 daughters and even her ex-husband, Bruce Willis, signaling how seriously their relationship was taken by all involved. This openness was unusual and suggested a genuine attempt to build a blended family. By 2 months into dating, Ashton planned a grand romantic gesture, a beachside picnic at midnight, where rose petals spelled out, "Marry me." On Demi's finger was a 5-carat Asher-cut diamond ring worth around $250,000. The couple's life together moved rapidly. They were living together by the 4th month and had launched a production company, quickly positioning themselves as Hollywood's new power couple. Their relationship captured the imagination of fans and media alike, seeming to promise a fresh, modern fairy tale. However, beneath the glamorous surface, pressures were mounting. Their 15-year age gap became a fixation for the press and public. Tabloids capitalized on the story, sometimes harshly labeling Demi as the quintessential cougar, a term she later owned with humor rather than shame. The intense spotlight would prove both a bonding agent and a source of stress for the couple as they navigated their very different stages of life and career. These early months were not without challenges, but the promise of new beginnings underpinned their every move. Their shared passion for work and family, along with Ashton's eagerness to step into the role of stepfather, created hope that their union could succeed where others had faltered. Still, hints of underlying strain remained out of sight, setting the stage for the more difficult truths to emerge later. The couple's story seemed to defy conventional expectations, mixing heartbreak, healing, and public scrutiny into a narrative uniquely their own. But not all fairy tales are free from shadows, and the brightest new flame would soon face its greatest test. As they built their life together, it's important to understand the foundation Demi brought to this relationship, one marked by hardship and resilience forged early on. Demi Moore's troubled past. Before Demi Moore was the Hollywood icon known for her bold roles and public persona, she was a young girl facing an unstable and painful childhood. Born in Roswell, New Mexico in 1962, her early years were far from a fairy tale. Her father abandoned the family before she was even born, leaving her mother to raise Demi amid hardship and upheaval. This abandonment set a tone of insecurity that followed Demi well into adulthood. At just 15, Demi experienced a traumatic betrayal when her mother permitted an older man to take advantage of her for $500. The emotional scars from that moment, along with the constant instability at home, shaped a profound sense of vulnerability that would shadow her for years. Her mother, and stepfather's struggles with alcohol further destabilized the household. By the time she was 14, Demi and her family had moved over 30 times, never finding a true place to call home. One of the most tragic episodes of Demi's life came when she was only 12 years old. Her mother tried to take her own life by taking an overdose of pills. Little Demi, however, was not the one to give in. She was physically preventing her mother from taking the pills, while at the same time her stepfather was holding her. This terrible experience took away her childhood innocence and forced her to grow up too soon. It was a harsh and brutal introduction to suffering and living that would deeply impact her emotional being and character. Demi also did not find school a refuge. She struggled with dyslexia and a health issue that required surgery on her eyes, which consequently made her a student who could not excel academically. At the age of 16, she was so overwhelmed by her problems that she gave up on school and took up several low-paying jobs, such as working as a model and in debt collection, just to survive financially. It was a tough road to getting her independence, and every time she got closer, she felt more strongly the unstable position she was in. At 17, Demi decided to marry a musician, Demi Moore, in an attempt to escape her plight and, perhaps, find true love. Their marriage lasted for 4 years, and even though it was tough, it was a 4-year lesson for Demi about trust, love, and self-esteem. The period of trials difficulties was long, but she was determined to be liberated from her past, which was evident through her strength and determination to start a new life. The actress's efforts and determination eventually received recognition when she was only 19 years old and got the part in the renowned soap opera General Hospital. She was one of over 1,000 actresses who were vying for the role of Jackie Templeton, a dynamic journalist, and this was actually her first major break in the film industry. Despite the fact that the salary was very low, only $750 per episode, the role was still a great step towards her dream. These were Demi's formative years, and at the same time, she was fighting with addiction and dealing with the huge pressures of being famous. Her taking the situation to the point of outrageous partying almost ruined her career. But people like director Joel Schumacher, who recognized her talent, would not allow that to happen and have even stepped in. His tough love approach, which involved requiring her to be completely sober before he would consider giving her a significant role, forced Demi to confront her demons, and hence a path to her recovery was opened. From these early experiences, one can see how the foundation of Demi's life, strength tempered by struggle, would affect her choices in love and partnership, including her relationship with Ashton Kutcher. Hollywood stardom and personal battles. Demi Moore's ascent in Hollywood was nothing short of remarkable, yet it unfolded alongside ongoing personal challenges that rarely made headlines. Following her breakthrough in St. Elmo's Fire, where she played a troubled party girl, Demi's career soared, landing roles in successful films like About Last Night and Ghost. Her performance in Ghost especially catapulted her to superstardom, making her one of the highest-paid actresses of her time. Despite public acclaim and a Golden Globe nomination for Ghost, Demi's off-screen life was more complicated. She struggled privately with addiction, an issue that followed her from young adulthood into her career's peak. The demands of fame, coupled with personal insecurities, made sobriety a daily battle. Yet, she persevered long enough to build a respected body of work and a powerful presence in Hollywood. Her choices in roles often reflected a desire to challenge societal norms, as seen in films like A Few Good Men and Indecent Proposal. The latter sparked heated debates about morality and relationships, placing Demi in the middle of cultural conversations about women's agency. Far from shying away, she embraced these challenges, pushing boundaries and redefining what it meant to be a leading lady in Hollywood. At the same time, balancing a high-profile career and motherhood added complexity to her life. After marrying Bruce Willis in 1987, Demi juggled caring for their 3 daughters with a busy career. She famously posed nude, pregnant with their second child, on the cover of Vanity Fair, an image that reshaped public perceptions of motherhood and womanhood. Her commitment to keeping her family close, even while working, such as arranging on-set nurseries, showed her desire to merge both worlds despite their challenges. However, cracks appeared beneath the polished exterior. Bruce and Demi's differing views on family life versus career demands created tension, while they maintained mutual respect and ultimately parted amicably. These differences highlighted the pressures she faced between personal happiness and professional ambition. The experience added another layer to Demi's understanding of love, sacrifice, and boundaries. Throughout her rise, Demi's personal battles were often shadowed by her professional successes, yet they informed much of her vulnerability and authenticity on screen. This duality made her performances resonate deeply with audiences and gave her the strength to confront her struggles. Her journey through Hollywood's highs and lows prepared her oddly for the next chapter of her life, one defined by a controversial headline-making relationship that would test her in unprecedented ways. The challenges Demi faced didn't end with fame. They set the stage for a complex love story that was just beginning. Marriage to Bruce Willis and motherhood. Demi Moore's marriage to Bruce Willis marked a significant chapter in her life where career success met the challenges of family and motherhood. The couple met in the late 1980s and married in 1987, quickly becoming one of Hollywood's most talked-about power couples. Bruce's career was on the rise with hits like Die Hard, while Demi was becoming one of the highest-paid actresses in Hollywood, breaking new ground with blockbuster films and bold roles. Together, they built a home filled with 3 daughters, Rumor, Scout, and Tula, and navigated the complex balance between stardom and family life. Despite their fairy tale image, balancing their busy careers and family life was challenging. Bruce often expressed a desire for Demi to spend more time at home, while Demi was relentless in pursuing her ambitions, exemplified by breaking salary records on films like Striptease. Their differing priorities created unspoken tensions, yet the couple maintained an enduring respect that kept their family bonds intact. For a time, they even worked together, starring in Mortal Thoughts, showing a united front amid their busy lives. Demi's viewpoint and behavior throughout the entire period were largely influenced by her motherhood experience. The actress, who was under constant media scrutiny at that time, exhibited an audacious act that eventually changed people's perceptions regarding pregnancy and female identity when she flaunted her nudity while on the cover of Vanity Fair, carrying her second baby, Scout. Demi did everything possible to have her little ones around her on the film locations, and even a nursery was arranged so that she could help her kids while working. Despite the velvety and victorious life around her, Demi often experienced guilt, and sometimes even felt that she was a poor mother, as she was not with her girls all the time. The marriage and family life initially brought a lot of love and intimacy, but then slowly, shortcomings in the bond became visible cracks as the rising career demands and personal issues meddled with them. With Demi and Bruce, after a decade and a year of living together, God decided to stop their union in 1998, but not before they had agreed to end it together in a friendly way, slightly bitter but very graceful. They remained good friends and did co-parenting of their daughters with a deep connection that many Hollywood breakups would normally end in a division characterized by disagreement and animosity. They even went on to help each other later on throughout life's milestones, attended each other's weddings, and maintained the bond of respect and friendship. In the 90s, Demi experienced motherhood and being a wife, which in turn defined her interrelations with people in her future. She always had to manage the two opposing forces of personal ambition and family devotion, which influenced her life and future choices. Co-parenting 3 daughters with Bruce, she was very much aware of the intermingling of love and public life, plus the private emotions and complexities in whispers and emotional struggles that came with the sacrifices and elegant guessing involved in handling the great hardships and emotional difficulties of the situation. This phase of her life not only included family, but also the unceasing battle between the mother and the star roles. Demi's ability to juggle a high-profile career and motherhood became her trademark that drew equal admiration from the fans and her colleagues. Her adventure during that time was a mirror of the transformation in the status of women in Hollywood and American society. Yet, beneath the surface of success and collaboration, Demi was preparing for a new chapter, one that would unfold with a very different kind of partner and story. Meeting Ashton Kutcher and New Beginnings. In 2003, at the New York premiere of Charlie's Angels' Full Throttle, Demi Moore met Ashton Kutcher, igniting a relationship that would captivate the world. She was 40, navigating the aftermath of her divorce, while Ashton was 25, fresh from his success on television. Their instant connection was unexpected but powerful, fueled by long, deep conversations about life, dreams, and philosophies that stretched over hours on the phone right after their first encounter. The romance quickly gained momentum. Just 3 weeks after meeting, Ashton was already introduced to Demi's daughters and even her ex-husband, Bruce Willis. This rapid blending of families was unusual, symbolizing their earnest intentions to build something real and lasting. Within 2 months, Ashton surprised Demi with a midnight picnic on a Santa Barbara beach, complete with rose petals spelling out "Marry Me" and a dazzling 5-carat diamond ring. By 4 months into the relationship, Demi and Ashton were living together and had launched Catalyst Films, their own production company. Their very first project, Beauty and the Geek, became a success, establishing them as Hollywood's newest power couple. Their relationship was widely celebrated, seen as a bold blend of love, business, and family. Yet, the swift rise also brought with it intense media scrutiny and public fascination. The 15-year age difference between them became a constant flashpoint. The press often focused less on their love and more on the age gap, labeling Demi unfairly as a cougar and making her the subject of jokes and cultural stereotypes. Remarkably, Demi faced these with humor and grit, even poking fun at herself during a 2005 appearance on Saturday Night Live. Her willingness to own the narrative softened the blow of public criticism while reinforcing her strong, unapologetic persona. Behind the scenes, Ashton took seriously his new role as stepfather. At just 27, he embraced raising Demi's 3 daughters, ages 17, 14, and 11 at the time, learning to braid their hair, attend school events, and take parenting classes. Ashton supported their passions, helping Rumor launch her Twitter account and inspiring Scout's interest in technology, which influenced her path toward computer science. Despite some initial adjustment challenges, including Tula's difficulty accepting Ashton as a father figure and a brief crush, Rumor admitted to having on him, Ashton remained dedicated and loving. Together, they bought a home in Idaho, spending holidays, hosting themed parties, and even vacationing alongside Bruce Willis and his family. Bruce publicly praised Ashton as one of the few men his daughters truly loved, highlighting the rare and positive dynamic they managed to create. This blended family appeared to flourish on the surface, a modern model of cooperation and mutual care. However, beneath the smiles, stressors quietly mounted. 6 months into Demi's pregnancy with their first child together, tragedy struck when they discovered the baby no longer had a heartbeat. This devastating miscarriage shattered them both, pushing them into grief counseling several times a week and leaving deep emotional scars. Ashton later admitted the loss strengthened his resolve to be a committed father, but the pain marked the beginning of strains that would challenge their marriage's foundation. As the public breathlessly followed their highs and lows, Demi and Ashton's relationship became a complex swirl of love, grief, and resilience. The loss and struggles in their marriage. 6 months into Demi Moore's pregnancy with Ashton Kutcher, tragedy struck in a way no one could have prepared for. During a routine ultrasound checkup, they discovered their baby daughter, whom they had named Chaplain Ray, no longer had a heartbeat. This heartbreaking loss shattered both of them and plunged their relationship into a dark and uncertain place. Demi, who had maintained sobriety for nearly 2 decades at that point, blamed herself, convinced that her occasional drinking and smoking early in the pregnancy had caused the miscarriage. Grief consumed Demi, leading her into a battle with alcohol and painkillers as she tried to numb the overwhelming emptiness she felt. Her weight dropped to a fragile 98 pounds, an outward sign of the deep internal struggle she faced. Ashton was there trying to support her, attending grief counseling sessions multiple times a week together, but the emotional distance between them began to grow. Despite their efforts, what once felt like an unstoppable love story slowly started to unravel under the weight of unspoken pain and sorrow. Their attempts to conceive again proved unsuccessful. They turned to in vitro fertilization treatments, but each attempt ended in disappointment, further deepening the strain on their marriage. The pressure to heal and rebuild after such a profound loss, mixed with the already complex dynamics of their age difference and Demi's ongoing struggles with addiction. Those layers of tension created cracks that steadily widened over time. In a last-ditch attempt to rescue their marriage, Demi not only disclosed during her memoir that she gave in to Ashton's request for threesomes, but also hoped that it would be a way to please him and keep the relationship alive. Nevertheless, the whole thing took her down to the ground, feeling empty, shameful, and dazed about what had become of their love. They faced the intimacy challenges plus the spiritual ones, and when the Kabbalah Center in Los Angeles did not help them, they made a good move, going to Israel to retreat, all in the hope of finding clarity and peace. Sad to say, but their unconventional actions could not prevent the falling apart. The triad of mourning, dependence, and the big life stage gap between them always brought the relationship to the brink. What was once a brightly promising love had now turned into a constant tug of war that neither of them seemed to be able to fully resolve. Their secret hurt was also turned up by constant public attention. The media's obsession with their age gap, the abortion, and their efforts to remain together turned very intimate issues into public showings. This external chatter was the added stressor that very few couples in the limelight can cope with. Demi went through all these difficulties, and she did not let go, trying to integrate her persona as a mother, a wife, and a woman who had fought hard to get rid of her past. However, the marriage was weak, and the burden of unhealed injuries and unfulfilled needs gradually brought down what they had established. During this time of their lives, the combination of personal mourning and mounting separation prepared the audience for the disclosures that Demi would ultimately make, claims that irrevocably altered the course of their relationship. The pressures they couldn't navigate quietly were about to become public, exposing vulnerabilities that had long remained hidden behind their carefully maintained image. The darkest secret revealed. The turning point in Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher's marriage came when a series of rumors and betrayals thrust their private pain into the glaring spotlight of public scandal. On September 24, 2011, what should have been their 6th wedding anniversary, rumors surfaced that Ashton had spent the night with 22-year-old Sarah Leal. The news was all the more shocking because Demi had encountered Leal before, when the young woman boldly handed Ashton her phone number in plain sight of Demi and her daughter at a bowling alley. Worse still, Demi did not learn of the betrayal from Ashton, but discovered it herself through a Google alert on her phone while preparing for a red carpet event. When confronted, Ashton admitted to cheating. Soon after, she also found out about another affair with 21-year-old Brittany Jones. Instead of taking responsibility or expressing deep remorse, Ashton tried to explain his actions by claiming that the threesomes they had agreed on blurred the boundaries of their marriage. This defense only deepened the wound of betrayal and humiliation. The scandal quickly became public knowledge, sparking widespread media frenzy and intense humiliation for Demi. Just days after the revelations, they appeared together at a foundation event against human trafficking, forcing Demi to stand by Ashton as if nothing had happened. This public performance of unity belied the devastation simmering beneath the surface. Demi, recognizing the irreparable damage, eventually made their separation public on November 17, 2011. She characterized the choice as hurtful but indispensable in remaining honest with herself regarding her values and self-worth. The separation process itself was extended for almost 2 years, starting with Ashton's filing in December 2012 and ending with the divorce being finalized in November 2013. Both of them were emotionally unstable at the same time, as their private suffering became public through continuous invasive scrutiny. Ashton confessed later that he perceived himself as a loser due to the divorce, while Demi's self-worth got totally shattered. Although she had been fighting hard to stay sober, it did not last. On January 23, 2012, only a few months after the separation, she relapsed. A terrible seizure during a party was the signal that she had entered one of the darkest periods of her life, which was caused by the use of synthetic marijuana, nitrous oxide, and other substances. The next years were tough, as Demi was said to be taking a hazardous combination of Vicodin, vodka, and energy drinks. The issues with her body image came to a head, and she became obsessed with losing weight. Also, she spent a lot of time examining herself in the mirror. Even her health went down further, till she weighed only 102 pounds. Stress, fatigue, and improper diet led to the devastating effect of having seizures more than once. Demi was in a state of fragility, and hence, she pulled back her relationships with family and friends, and her daughter Rumer's 30th birthday was among the important events she did not attend. At one time, she was viewed as powerful and unbreakable, but now she had to face the addiction, loneliness, and self-destruction. Nevertheless, Demi's story throughout the hardships shows how a public fairy tale can turn into a person's deepest private struggle. It highlights the complicated, often non-visible truths behind the lives of the rich and famous, and the immense power of resilience that is needed to confront and win over such dark times. From the ashes of this painful period, Demi's journey toward healing and self-love would begin, a transformation that would redefine her life and outlook forever. Life after separation and personal growth. After her separation from Ashton Kutcher, Demi Moore's life took a painful and deeply personal turn. Nearly 20 years sober, she relapsed in early 2012, suffering a seizure at a party after using synthetic cannabis and inhaling nitrous oxide. The incident marked the beginning of one of her darkest chapters, exposing the fragility behind Hollywood's glamorous image. Over the next few years, Demi's struggle with addiction worsened. Reports described her consuming up to a dozen Vicodin pills a day, often mixed with vodka and energy drinks. Her body image issues deepened. She spent hours obsessing over her weight as her health deteriorated. At one point, she dropped to a dangerously low 102 pounds. The combination of physical decline and emotional exhaustion led to multiple hospitalizations and seizures, isolating her further from friends and family. Once admired for her resilience, Demi began avoiding public appearances and even missed family milestones, including daughter Rumer's 30th birthday. Behind closed doors, she battled loneliness and despair. Yet, beneath the pain, a quiet will to heal remained. That resolution came to light much later in a Vogue interview of the year 2024, where Demi presented the idea of solo partnering. Instead of being dependent on romantic relationships, she started to love and have a respectful partnership with herself. The new way of thinking appealed to many people and made social media users rethink self-love and independence as empowering instead of just being dissatisfied. Her dating pattern was a complete reversal. Throughout the year, she only picked 3 of the most suitable candidates for her, and she treated every connection with care and mindfulness. One of the candidates, a physicist whose field is the study of the universe and whom she met while attending a TED Talk, went with her for a night of observing stars, which she called profoundly significant, if not romantic. For Demi, the whole thing was a value change. Connection was no longer a matter of having, and love was no longer a thing of giving up. The friendship with Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher's wife, was, however, among the most unexpected things. The two are now co-hosting a very small book club, where they meet once every 2 weeks to discuss not only books, but also life. Their wonderful closeness tells about Demi's maturity and her forgiveness. It is the ability to let go of the past pain without bitterness and concentrate on one's own growth and beauty. Right now, Demi Moore has set definite limits for her upcoming relationships. "If I ever get to love someone again," she expressed, "it will definitely be with a person who contributes to my life, not one that I will fix." It is a phrase that relies on the truth learned the hard way, the result of heartbreak, thinking, and reawakening. Demi has given up love and fame as sources of her self-esteem and has taken solitude as her right hand. Her narrative is now a reminder that resilience is not about being perfect. It is about enduring the darkest periods and becoming stronger. She gradually stepped onto the stage as a smart and powerful woman and came out victorious, the very opposite of the one who had been defeated by pain. Demi Moore, by her choice to remain single but not to be lonely, has opened up a brand new chapter, marked by being true to oneself, forgiveness, and having one's respect. She has been through a lot, and her journey shows that the most profound relationship we can nurture is the one with ourselves, a truth that is applicable even beyond the dazzling lights of Hollywood. Demi Moore's story is a powerful reminder that behind every dazzling public life lies a deeply human journey, marked by challenges and resilience. Her path from heartbreak to healing shows the strength found in embracing oneself fully. If you found this story inspiring, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives behind the headlines.